And we're back.
What's up, man? Just got
Well, we
done
got
with just got done with debate recap, and you're like, let's go again. So,
we started talking about the October surprise, and they've already happened October 1st, and
dude,
so
like
we might as well
clockwork.
know what we're talking about here.
So, you said you've kind of heard of both of these things, but you don't know a whole lot about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Israel and Iran. What did you hear today about the strike that happened?
So I heard Iran struck Israel, um, and I heard most of it got, depleted in the air, but
Okay.
some of it has landed, right?
Yeah, so I think somebody from our State Department said that 99.9% of them got shot down, but a couple got through, and they sent 200 ballistic missiles, which last time they sent more things in total, but a lot of them were like drones that, small explosion type things. Apparently they sent less than 100 ballistic missiles the last time. So this was 200 ballistic missiles.
Is a
Basically a bigger
ballistic
boom.
missile where it comes in and it expands. It like shoots off a bunch of different rockets.
I think there's different ones that do different things. So yeah, sounds right. I don't know exactly what this one does,
That's
but
ballistic.
yeah, but yeah, so they got hit today. Everybody knew this was coming to a degree because Iran or not Iran, Israel did the pager thing, they did the walkie-talkie thing, and then just like 2 days ago they killed the leader of Hezbollah, which the one thing that's been interesting is Iran has always tried to kind of do the whole like, oh, we don't know anything about Hamas and Hezbollah. But then over the last couple of weeks, like it's become very clear, like they are now striking Israel in retaliation for the Hezbollah leader getting killed. So there's no more trying to deny that they're clearly both like what do they call it, like a state sponsor of terror, like for both of those groups. So anyhow,
Okay.
Iran's not a good person here. Like there's no defending Iran. So Israel is gonna strike back, and I'll bet right now the U.S. is trying everything they can think of to tell them not to strike back and not to escalate this. But I think it's gonna happen. And the one reason I really think it's gonna happen, um, we used to have the nuclear agreement with Iran. Obama put it in place, and it basically limited them to where they couldn't enrich uranium past a certain percentage. That's
Okay.
what you need to turn it into a nuclear bomb. I don't know anything about it, but that's kind of the gist. Trump got us out of that terrible, terrible deal, according to Trump, and then didn't replace it with anything else. So he just canceled the one thing keeping Iran from being able to do a nuke and didn't replace it with anything else. So they've been working on it. And forever, I feel like we've always heard like Iran is 10 years away from being able to have like a nuke they could put on a missile. And then it was 5 years away. And then just in the last couple of days, I keep seeing that like, oh, they're a week or two away from being able to do this, which I don't know how he suddenly jumped to there. Like, if
Yeah,
I
that's kind of fishy.
if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say that Netanyahu is behind that number and he's
Mm,
looking for a reason. And if you say, oh crap, Iran's a week or two away from being able to do this, suddenly it becomes a lot more justifiable to strike them. Like if he's trying to
mm.
find a reason to do it and not have the rest of the world get mad at him, this is a great reason. Because even countries that want this to end quickly with a peace settlement, like they all also agree that Iran can't have a nuke. Like if Iran gets a nuke, they will instantly shoot it at Israel. Like there's no like they very much want to blow Israel off the face of the earth, and I don't think they just want one as like a leverage as a negotiating chip. They're going to use it. So
Yeah. How many countries is Israel at war with right now?
right now, just I guess a war with itself because Gaza is within Israel, and then Lebanon. But they would say they're not actually at war with Lebanon. They're just taking care of the terrorists in Lebanon. There are
Fair
Hezbollah
enough.
was very much up in Lebanon and shooting missiles regularly into northern Israel. So like they're not innocent in that at all. Israel just figured while we're taking care of this, let's go ahead and also take care of the other one. And in order to do so, they're bombing another country, and then they actually sent like ground troops in the last day or two. So they've invaded Lebanon. The thing is,
Lebanon.
Lebanon doesn't really even have a government, so like nobody gives a fuck. Like Lebanon, like when they invaded, Lebanon's not going to then turn their army on them and go to war. Like I don't know that they have a standing army. I don't think they do.
And now Iran.
Yeah, so if they hit Iran, the one thing is, I was reading this, and I don't know how accurate any of this is, but apparently all the other Arab countries over there, like Saudi Arabia, Jordan, I don't know about Syria, but like all Iraq, like they all would rather Iran not have a nuke. So there's a
Yeah.
chance that we could take out Iran and all those other countries over there would just be cool with it. And like that's the best scenario. And that when I say take out Iran, I mean take out that nuclear plant, like wherever they're enriching uranium. You don't then do an invasion of Iran. That's a terrible idea. Don't try to overthrow their government. That's how we get into Iraq and Afghanistan for 20 years. No
Yeah.
need to do that. But if they do hit the nuclear plant, Iran's going to shoot back. And real quickly, I think the U.S. is actually involved. I don't think there's ever boots on the ground, but I think our jets and our missiles flying off of aircraft or destroyers or whatever in the
Yeah.
Mediterranean Sea, like we're directly involved in a shooting war with Iran.
Yeah. Oh, I'm wondering, I'm actually going to look this up. Is there a map of our destroyers? Because I feel like we have them
So
like that whole area surrounded right now.
they do tell you they'll say, "Oh, we moved an additional carrier group into the into the Mediterranean or whatever it is." But I pray to God that you can't get online and see where all of our ships are, like our air, because that would be bad. Like I would hope there's a level of not
Uh,
not just giving that information.
let's
If you could
see.
find it, I'm gonna be
Would we need
scared.
destroyers or just warships or
U.S. Navy ships and positions of U.S. Navy ships.
let's do that.
Yeah. So anyhow, what's interesting is everybody always said that if something goes wrong in the Middle East, that's bad for Kamala. I was seeing numbers today that apparently it's really kind of it's not going to move the needle at all. Like if stuff goes nuts in the Middle East, I guess it's kind of 50-50. 50% think Kamala can handle it better, 50% think Donald. So doesn't move the election too much.
Well, what are they each going to do? Like,
They're both going to support Israel. It's just a matter
yeah.
of how much they're going to support Israel. Like
Well,
the
Trump wants Israel just to like basically destroy
yeah,
Gaza and take over the whole country, and Kamala wants like a ceasefire.
yeah, if you're on the left and you're mad about this, like that's one of those where I hate to say like, hey, it's a binary choice. Like you're either getting one or the other, which one's better for your side. But like Kamala or currently Biden, what Kamala's going to do, like they're supporting Israel and funding them and giving them all the bombs that they're then killing kids and women with. Uh, but they're at the same time like begging them to stop and to get a peace deal. Whereas Trump would just say, fucking flatten that, like make it a parking lot. So I think either way, it's going to become a parking lot. The Democrats are just trying to talk them into playing nice, and it's not going to work.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
play nice.
not clear that that one moves the needle. The second October surprise is going to move the needle if it happens. I had a buddy, so I'd seen for the past 2 or 3 days that there's a potential port worker strike coming up, and like being this close to an election, like I was like, I'll bet they work it out at the last minute, or maybe it lasts a day or two. Like I really didn't think anything was going to happen, and I had a buddy actually ask me about it last night, and I told him that I was like, yeah, I was like, we're in an election year, like the workers are probably going to get what they want because normally I don't know why, but normally like our government, like the president will step into a labor dispute, like if it's the air traffic controllers or the labor or the train, railroad unions, like the president always somehow gets involved. But I thought this would get cleared up right away. And then late last night, I saw that the guy that's leading this union, it's I looked it up earlier, International Longshoremen's Association. They actually work 36 ports from like Maine to Texas, like the whole Eastern Seaboard. They run
Wow.
the ports, like they're unloading the ships. The head of their union is real buddy buddy with Trump. Like they've been buddies for a long time. So you could definitely make a conspiracy theory that like he's gonna do this to hurt the economy leading up to the election. And man, if that is like a pre-planned October surprise, I almost give Trump credit because that's a great, like it's an evil but a great plan. Now,
Well, either way, it hurts the economy. Like if they give them what you said they're asking 75%.
they're asking for a 77% raise. And what's weird, that seems like a ridiculously high number. But the companies came back and offered them it was like a 50% raise over 5 years, I think. And they said, nope, 77 or we're not coming back to work. And like
77 in one year, just
77% over five. I think it's all over 5 years. I
okay.
didn't read the article, so I'll have to
Well,
check back
doesn't
on
that
that.
just increase the prices of everything? I mean, isn't this part of why we
Well,
have
and
inflation?
So a typical, I haven't even seen this, but a typical labor union would say, "Oh, well, you made 300 billion in profit last year, so you can afford to then, we deserve our fair pay, blah blah blah." That's a typical. I'm a pro union guy, so I don't hate that message. So show me what their profit was last year, and then I'll tell you if I think 77% is unreasonable or not. I have no clue.
Okay.
Like that's kind of what I would need to see. Um, but the thing that hurts the most is I respect Biden for being principled, but there's a thing called like the Hawley McCaskill Act or something odd like that. I can't remember what it's called. Um, but Biden could order them back to work for 90 days. It's a weird power the president has, and it's called like a 90-day cooling off period where negotiations can happen, but if it's a critical infrastructure like the ports or the railroads, like you can't cripple the country. So Biden has the power to tell them tomorrow to get back to work, and they have to do it for 90 days, and they could get through the election with the economy not crashing. However, since Biden is pro-union, he's gone on record numerous times saying that he hates this bill. Like he thinks it's anti-union, he's not going to use it. And they asked him, I think yesterday about that, and he said, "I'll tell you again, I don't believe that bill is constitutional," or whatever he said, and I'm not going to use it. So it's like, oh, bad. He's
Okay.
he's so
Okay.
principled, but like that could easily like if here's the problem is the things that are going to be affected by this were like I read it was like chocolate and bananas and strawberries and European automobiles and a bunch of stuff that we wouldn't really notice a shortage of. But if you watch Fox News right now, like they're making it seem like, oh my God, like it's gonna get hard. Remember like the COVID craze where all of a sudden we couldn't get toilet paper. And it's like the only reason we couldn't get toilet paper is because people started talking about the fact that you wouldn't be able to get toilet paper. So
Oh
everybody
yeah.
ran out and bought
Oh,
all of it that they could. And
we're
like
all gonna
you,
go buy European cars now.
so that's the thing though. You could cause a panic on any city or country. Like you could rile up the people and make them believe there's food shortages coming, and everybody will run down and clear out the stores, and then you'll have pictures of grocery stores with empty shelves.
Mm.
And oh, heading into election, like how good would that be for Trump if there is suddenly every grocery store across America, the shelves are wiped out and people can't get toilet paper and all that. That hands him the election right there. Like that, it's over.
I do love my bananas, Andy.
I'm glad you should go stock up on it. You should go buy every banana you can find right now.
I mean, it might be the best deal in the supermarket too.
A banana? How
You
many?
can
I
buy
don't know.
like you can buy like four bananas for $1.
What's funny is, people make fun of like if they're talking about a rich person like Trump, they're like, Trump doesn't even know what a loaf of bread really costs, or something like that. And like when it comes to produce, like you could have told me like bananas are $4 a piece, and I would have been like, that sounds about right. I have no clue what they cost. I even when I'm shop, I when I shop for groceries, I don't look at prices at all, and I'm always shocked when I get to the end and I realize how much it was. I'm like, how? Like, how was it this much money for what I got? But I don't know.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyhow, yeah. So
crazy.
those are our two October surprises: is a longshoreman. What is it called? International Longshoremen's Association. So yeah, port worker strike that could really mess up the economy. And because the strike itself wouldn't mess up the economy, but if we get into a panic, if people start thinking that there's a need to go stock up on everything, that'll quickly become a scene. So
So they
that's
both go towards Trump. They both give
yes.
Trump a ledge.
But so,
Hmm.
but that's the only thing.
And they're both
Traditionally,
created by Trump almost. Well, the
so
Netanyahu wants Trump and the longshoreman wants Trump.
if you
So
were if you leaned conspiratorial, it'd be easy to jump on either one of these and be like, "Oh, this is clearly planned by Trump." It's it's awfully coincidental. But
yeah.
there's you'll never have. Here's the thing: is you can say all day long like Trump's buddies with that guy running the union. They planned this, okay? Unless you can find an email or a tape recording where they're talking about it, you don't have any evidence. So don't waste your time arguing it. It seems awfully suspicious, but
But you said there's photos of them.
there's photos of them hanging out together, but that doesn't mean that
Oh,
Trump told him like, "Hey, what would be super is if you went on strike a month before the
right.
election." You'll
Uh,
never find that evidence. So good luck trying to prove that. People are going to speculate that that's going to become real prominent online. Is that Trump? They're doing this to help Trump or this or that. Quit wasting your breath. Like find the evidence. If you don't have evidence, shut up. That's kind of where I'm at.
okay.
The
Hmm.
Netanyahu thing, it sure seems like Netanyahu is trying to keep this war going to keep himself out of jail and
Yeah.
hoping that he can cause enough problems to where Trump gets elected. That's the best case scenario for Netanyahu. Netanyahu is going to be fully supported by Trump, whereas any Democratic candidate is going to support Israel, but not fully support Netanyahu, I think, at this point.
Right.
And he is trying to stay in power to stay out of prison. So, yeah,
Okay.
it kind of sucks. So that's where we're
Damn.
at.
All right.
So
All
right
right. So
now,
we need an October surprise in the other direction or two.
there's not, I've
We
thought about this for a long time, but with Trump, like we've had 9 years, there's nobody new. There's nobody new that's going to come out and be like, Donald Trump sexually assaulted me in this year or whatever. Like they're all already out. Like there's nothing new to learn about Trump, unless the one thing that could get Trump at this point is the Jack Smith DC trial for the January 6th stuff.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so where they're at with that one is since the Supreme Court said that, if it was something that was an official act as president, you can't get him for it. You can't prosecute him. But if it wasn't, so how they're going to do that is they're going to submit all their evidence and go through piece by piece and try to figure out what is a presidential, is this one a presidential act or is this one not? Is it somebody did in his private time? And they're trying to make that public, basically to get all the evidence out in front of the American people. And basically, we're not going to get a ruling on this. He's not going to be found guilty before the election. So the next best thing, show that America deserves to know the full evidence of that. So Jack Smith filed his brief with all that evidence. And then the judge asked Trump's team, like, hey, do you have anything to say about this before I unseal it? And everybody thought they would say, black out the witness names and certain information, but they're arguing completely for this should not see the light of day. Like, so that's their side of it. So the
Hmm.
judge has to rule on that. So in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we could see the full evidence against Trump having to do with January 6th. And that would be like Mike Pence's grand jury testimony, all the people
Okay.
that worked around him. And basically, it'd be a bunch of grand jury testimony of all the people that were closest to Trump around January 6th. So
Okay. This
that's
is a
the
really bad
one.
time for me to go just full Fox News.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear. You're gonna have to report back and let us know how this is, but you're gonna see that you should definitely run to the store and get everything you can from the store. I think Fox News is gonna start really pushing that. I think all right-wing media is gonna try to induce a panic and panic shopping. That's
Oh,
my guess for the next 2 or 3 days.
yeah. I was fine during the pandemic. I'll be fine again.
Go
I
buy as
remember
much.
going to the meat department and there was no meat at the grocery store. I was like, holy shit, we're screwed.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I say you go buy as much toilet paper as you can right now. I'm gonna fill my
Oh,
storm shelter.
I got a bidet. I don't need toilet
Oh,
paper.
that's right. Okay, I talked about you and your bidet on my other podcast, just so you
Oh,
know.
you did?
Yeah. So. All right. Well, let's sign off and go to bed. And
All right.
that's my prediction. Real quick prediction for the next couple of days. A, the VP debate doesn't move the polls at all. The
Yep.
the panic, right wing panic shopping is going to be a thing over the next couple of days. I hope I'm wrong about this, but I think when we check in a
Dude.
couple of days, we're going to be laughing about how the supermarkets are empty.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I think you're right. All right,
all right.
buddy.
Later, buddy.
Good
Bye.
night.